Revenge Served Cold, Story 3. Stepdad was disowned by his parents when they found out he had been mistreating me. My mom married Keith when I was 7. My biological father died even before I was born, so it was just me and mom for a long time before she met Keith. I thought we were a solid unit, the two of us. She had to work a lot, but when she had time, she spent it with me. When she got with Keith, she was so much happier. And I liked that. With my little eyes, I saw that she was livelier and had more time with me. Keith was nice to me. He had McDonald's for me every time he visited my mom. Then my mom said Keith would be living with us soon. I was so young then that I didn't know how it would affect my life. I just knew that time that Keith would be bringing home McDonald's all the time. They got married and I got to meet his side of the family. And they liked me. His parents treated me like their own grandson. I thought I got lucky with my mom's new husband. But not soon after their wedding had he shown his true colors. There had been no McDonald's since then. Suddenly, there I was told to transfer to a smaller room because Keith would need my room for his things. For a 7-year-old, that wasn't a big deal. After all, I slept in my mom's bed most of the time anyway. But that quickly changed as well. Keith told me I couldn't do that again. I asked my mom why, and Keith shouted at me because for him, me asking her was akin to disrespecting him. That was the first time I felt Keith's anger. I felt that I was wrong. My mom told me before that nothing would change, it's just Keith living with us. In my little mind, Keith getting angry meant I somehow did something wrong. I didn't exactly know why, I just asked my mom why I couldn't sleep in her bed anymore. My mom didn't say anything. I remember cowering and expecting my mom to soothe me and tell me it was okay, like she always did. But she didn't. I was so confused. After that, my space in the house got smaller and smaller. The area where my toys were in the living room, it was cleaned and replaced with Keith's things. I didn't even know what his things were. He just said I shouldn't touch them. Our house wasn't that big, but it had 3 bedrooms and a backyard. I loved that backyard. I got my little trike there. But since Keith lived with us, he also got angry when I used it one time. I didn't know why. He just said to stop using it. Again, I wanted to go to my mom, but he said I should quit crying to her every time I effed up. I thought Keith was right. I should be a big boy because that's what I was. My mom got pregnant soon after their wedding. She said I would be a big brother. I was so excited. I knew what that meant because some kids at school were also big brothers. When my little brother Jamie arrived, Keith even became more protective of the house. I once heard him say that to my mom. He claimed he was just protective because he was the man of the house now. His being protective meant that all outsiders couldn't harm the family. Unfortunately for me, I was considered an outsider of his family. I got to spend so much lesser time with my mom now. I was still a kid and needed my mom, but Keith would either tell me to man up, to make me do things independently, or my own mom would tell me she's tired and I should know how to do whatever it was by myself. Eventually, I got used to it. I didn't have the birthday party that I used to have anymore. Before, I got the neighborhood kids come to our house for a small party. After my brother arrived, I was given burger money, which I wasn't even able to spend on that day because I was still 8 or 9 and couldn't go out alone. My brother's first birthday was big, of course. My mom explained because it was his first birthday and was special. I understood. They got a lot of things that I never had, like a jump castle. I remember that day because when it was time to blow out the candles, Keith told me to wait in my room. I didn't know why, I just obeyed because I didn't want Keith angry at me again. My grandparents, my mom's parents, just collected me a few minutes after the cake cutting, asking why I was hiding in my room. I told them Keith told me to. I guess that didn't sit well with them because my mom later told me off for running off to her parents. Christmas came and I got gifts from my grandparents, from Keith's parents and from my dad's parents and sister. They were still around, but not as present as before anymore. My mom gave me burger money again. My brother got a lot of gifts from my mom and Keith. I admit I was jealous, but my mom just told me I also got a lot of gifts when I was his age. Whenever they went to family vacation to somewhere, I wasn't included. The first time they did it, I fully thought I was also going. Then Keith told me someone had to take care of the house. Mind you, I wasn't even 10 years old then. No sitter, no nothing, just me alone. They were out for days. I didn't know how long, but in a child's mind, that was a lifetime. I ate instant noodles and bread. At least they left me with groceries so I didn't have to go hungry or use the burger money my mom gave me again, knowing full well I couldn't go out alone to use it. Then that vacation happened regularly. I was left alone regularly too. Even when they were out in a mall or somewhere near, I always had to stay home. The truth was I started not to mind anything. I just sort of accepted that I was the outsider. Years went by and it was the same thing. My brother getting big birthday parties, and I was given burger money. Jamie was getting too big to stay in his parents' bedroom, so he was suddenly sharing mine. No one informed me that. They just put another bed inside. Then a few years later, I got a twin brother and sister. Keith had no choice but to give up the room he took from me and give it to the twins. When they turned 5, Keith told me that my little sister had to have her own room, so her twin would be using my bed. That means I was being kicked out of the room. So where would I stay then? In the living room, according to Keith. At that time, I was already 16. I protested. My little sister wasn't asking for a separate room yet, and she was 5. That's when I got my first taste of Keith's beating. He never physically hurt me before. He just made sure I felt excluded. But that was the first time he lay his hands on me. I got a punch to the face and a few kicks to the body. My mom later told me I provoked Keith because I was being selfish. I knew my mom wouldn't take my side. She never did. But her son was just physically abused and she still blamed me for it. I guess I was just used to being an outsider, that everything he did to exclude me didn't matter to me anymore. But when he beat me, that was my wake-up call. I was still a minor, so I couldn't live elsewhere. I also didn't have enough money. So I was relegated to sleep in the living room. That went on for a couple more years. I got regular beating from Keith. I had no idea when I would get it, but I would. The reason didn't matter, as long as he thought I was being stubborn, he would slap me or push me. I was already as big as him, but I didn't push back because if my mom didn't think I was worth defending, then I also didn't think I was. I didn't ask any of my grandparents for help because I thought they all abandoned me too. After all, why would they let a child be treated like that by his own family? Why didn't they ask to just get me? It turned out it was because they didn't know. My mom didn't tell her parents much about me, mostly just in passing. I think they were more interested with my siblings. As for my dad's parents, I think they just moved on when my mom refused to let me visit them. Keith's parents, on the other hand, never suspected a thing. It's because when they visited, they saw that I was getting along fine with my siblings. They were initially worried that I would be unaccepting of my siblings because I was so used to being an only child. So when they saw that it wasn't the case, they were happy that we were all a united family. That's what they saw because that's what Keith and my mom told them. The last straw was when Jamie effed up and blamed it on me because he knew his parents would believe him. He stole a few bills from mom's purse, and when she asked him, he told her it was me. Keith didn't hesitate or even ask me about it. He just kicked me awake from where I was sleeping in the couch and threatened to have me arrested. It took a few minutes of my mom trying to stop him from killing me before he actually stopped. Jamie wasn't much older than I was when Keith came to our lives, so I couldn't really blame him for taking advantage of the situation. But that got me thinking. If my own little brother recognized how effed up my status in the house was, then why couldn't I recognize it sooner? My brother couldn't look me in the eyes that night when he admitted to them that he took it. Keith didn't apologize to me either. My mom just gave me an ice pack and told me I shouldn't take it out on my brother, perhaps fearing that I would retaliate. It's funny that she thought that because that proved she didn't know me at all. What Jamie did was bad, but he's a child who didn't know better. I wasn't blaming him, I was blaming her for not defending me and Keith for what he did and for everything really. I packed the little belongings I had and left the house. I had nowhere to go. My mom didn't look for me, that I'm sure of. Because when Keith's parents came to visit and asked for me, she just told them I was staying with the other grandparents. But a couple of weeks went by and I was still missing. She told them the same excuse. Keith's parents, John and Nora, called my mom's parents to ask about me. They didn't know where I was too. John and Nora confronted my mom and Keith where I really was. She admitted that I left home but I was just trying to cool off and would eventually stop being selfish. When they asked their son what the hell happened, Keith admitted he was just trying to give me a lesson for stealing from them. John and Nora tried to look for me. This was before cell phones were prevalent, so they did it the long way and asked my school for friends who might know where I was. They eventually found me. I was doing odd jobs and sleeping at a shelter. I thought I was doing well for myself, all things considered. But when they found me, I cried hard. I didn't expect the tears. Why would they look for me? I was their son's unwanted stepson. If anything, my absence wouldn't affect them at all. But when they saw me, I felt they genuinely cared for me. And that was a first for a long, long time. They set up a small apartment for me so I could finish school without having to move cities. I was wary of their help at first, but they insisted that I accept it. They weren't rich, but they had few property investments, which Keith was expecting to inherit. Unfortunately, for him they changed their will so he wouldn't get anything anymore. It turned out that Keith was their adopted son. They loved him and treated him as their own. That was why it was unfathomable to them that Keith couldn't love and treat me, his wife's biological son, as his own. Or barring that, at least he could have treated me fairly. After all, I was a child and I was dependent on them. But not only did Keith not do that, he also went out of his way to make me feel excluded. And that was unacceptable to John and Nora. They made sure that he knew why they were disowning him. I believe that his children, my half-siblings, would just get a small portion of their properties when their grandparents passed. As for the rest, John and Nora donated it to charity for abandoned children. As for my dad's parents, when they found out, John and Nora made sure everyone knew about it. They asked that my mom and her family move out of their home. The home was not in my biological father's name, but in my grandparents'. They were thinking of just gifting their son the deed, but he died and they just forgot about it. As it was still in their name, they gave my mom notice to vacate the property. My mom and Keith, of course, blamed me for all this. My mom even said that since I was still a minor, I was a few months shy of 18, they could claim the apartment I was living in as their own. That was a big BS. I could go the legal route and sue her for abandonment or something, but I decided just to wait till I'm 18. John and Nora, true to their words, made sure their son would never lay a hand on me again. They helped me file an RTO against him. My mom and Keith had to find a much smaller apartment. My paternal grandparents gave me the house. I told them I didn't want it, but they said I could just sell it. So I sold it. And the money I got helped me start a new life without my family. I felt bad for my siblings. It was never their fault. I hope they are doing well regardless. Mom and Keith divorced after a few years, and Mom's parents helped raise them. That was 20 years ago, and last I heard Mom had remarried for the 4th time. It hurt for a while when she chose Keith and her new family over me, but I realized that my mom was gone. She had long been gone since marrying Keith. I mourned the mother that I lost but looked forward to starting over alone and away from the toxic life I was forced to endure. Keith had lost contact with his own parents and his children. He never wavered on blaming me for all that happened to him. I don't know why he picked a fight with a child. He saw the 8-year-old me and thought he could get rid of me when he married my mom. If he could just make me disappear, I have no doubt that he would do it. As it happened, he lost everything because of me. Word quickly got out how he was abusive to his stepson. He lost his job because in our small town, that kind of hearsay would guarantee to stain one's reputation, especially a beloved school teacher. He passed away from alcohol poisoning several years later. If you liked the story, please give it a thumbs up. Share the video and subscribe for more. Click the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos. Thank you very much.